What's up, everyone? I know that there are already a lot of YouTubers who go over Kickstarter, the new board games, the new Dungeons and Dragons content. I have decided to do this from a new person's perspective as well. I have not been a part of Kickstarter except for about the last 6 months, and and thought that I would start giving a weekly update on the new board games that are available and why I am interested, not interested, what they seem to bring to the table compared to other games, and just sort of share my perspective in the Kickstarter world. So while this game, Bardsung, is not a new game, it actually only has 3 days to go. It is an extremely popular game right now. It has raised over $770,000, over 6,000 backers, and I don't get it. I have really two main problems with this game. The first is that it appears to be a game focused around story, but they have shown none of that story. It seems extremely bland, fantasy-wise. A high fantasy, I mean, you got this turtle dude, which is kind of cool, orcs, elves, just high fantasy, dungeon crawler, focused around who you are, what your song is. You're the bard singing your song. And what is it that this bard is going to sing about you? What is it that makes you different from everybody else? And while that's cool on a character perspective, I don't know what makes this game different than anything else. My second, which I'll get into a little more, but my second issue, who makes the game? Oh, it's over here. Steam-forged games. And I'm not sure if you know much about Steam-forged games, but let's take a look here. This is the same company who has they've created a couple projects before. They created Dark Souls, the board game. I did not personally play this, but was extremely close to going in on it after Kickstarter, because I am a huge fan of Kingdom Death, and I have been looking for other games along a similar vein, other games that might give me that a similar feeling. The reviews of Dark Souls have just lambasted the game, pointing out over and over how great the boss battles are, and yet how terrible the lead up to those boss battles are. How it's monotonous and a grind unlike any other board game. In fact, there have been a lot of community-driven ways to fix that. And if I'm going to spend the amount of money that Dark Souls costs, I do not want to have to use a community-driven solution to a game. I've also heard terrible things about the Resident Evil games, that they did not live up to it. This new game here, Horizon Zero Dawn, and if you have not watched the no pun intended review of Horizon Zero Dawn, then I would give that a shot. I will link that below, and it gives an amazing overview of what the game wants to be, and then informs you on what the game actually is. Those are not going to be the same thing. This game does not live up to the hype, does not live up to what it says it is going to be. And then we have Bardsung. And based on Steam-forged games, previous games, I am not excited for this. I hope that I am wrong, and that in a year from now, year and a half from now, I regret not purchasing this for $90. $100? What is it now? It's about $100. But I don't see it. It is a typical dungeon crawler. They seem to make a big deal about how you are figuring out the dungeon as you go. That doesn't seem that intuitive to me. Comes with a whole bunch of minis. And I gotta admit, this guy does look cool. the looming darkness. And in the core box, it's about $100. You get all of this. You get these minis. I do not think that these minis necessarily look spectacular, especially after a game like Darkest Dungeon was just on Kickstarter. Those minis were amazing. And these look average. Your yellow guys are your characters that you play as, so comes with 4 along with stretch goals that you've unlocked. Comes with a couple extra things for Kickstarter exclusives, which is good. It doesn't change the game too much. And then the $159 Legend Pledge, you get the base game and the expansion, the Lost Levels. I don't understand this expansion. It's just another thing in a long line of things that I do not understand in this game. Why is this expansion focused on robots? How does that fit into the lore? I mean, okay, it's cool, you got this giant robotic guy, robots with swords and spears, and this sundial. This does not seem to fit the aesthetic. If you look at this, and then you look at these, while they are the same mini type, it does not seem to fit the aesthetic. It does not seem to fit what is going on in this world, and it does not make sense to me on why they went this route for an expansion, other than just to be cool or to be different. We need robots, we need to add sci-fi to our fantasy. No, you don't. I like to keep my sci-fi and my fantasy separate. As far as completed goals, we've unlocked a lot of new creatures and character players. So we've unlocked some, the Fate Song, the Demon Blade. I do think that this Wolf Pack is a pretty cool mini. I could use that in Dungeons & Dragons pretty easily. So we've unlocked some cool things, but they're all minis. This Cave Shark is probably my favorite mini in this entire game. And then, of course, you start to unlock things that seem to focus on the expansion. If you don't get the expansion, then it's just an extra mini that you don't need. So there's a lot going on in Bardsung. I'm not sold on it. I hope I'm wrong. I still don't understand what these guest collaborators, I don't understand what their point is. Why are they here? Again, you would think that it's for the story, but they've not shown any story. So they're all guest writers, but I still don't know what they are writing. And I don't want to just randomly spend money on something that I don't know what it is. Especially this amount of money. Extras you can buy. I'm pretty sure at this point I'm not changing anybody's mind on Bardsung, but I just wanted to share from somebody who has just been on Kickstarter for the last 6 months, who's been playing board games for years. I don't understand what is different enough about this game to warrant $100. Going on next, first we have The Boys. This is Going to Hurt, the board game. And this has 30 days to go and keeps going up. It looks as though it is going to reach its goal for sure. And this is the epitome of a cash-in. This game looks absolutely horrible. Absolutely terrible. When it says this is going to hurt, it physically looks like it's going to hurt to try to play this game. It looks as though they are literally releasing a board game to cash in on the TV show while they can. So let's go down a little bit. In this game, you are going to be trying to recruit players, recruit a team, in order to take down Homelander. The basic gist of The Boys, both the comic and the TV show. Which, if you have not watched the TV show, I would highly recommend it. So for $60, here's what you get. You get what looks like something my daughter just sort of threw together. For $60, you get cardboard standee pawns, a whole bunch of cards to play your game, tokens. And if you want the deluxe edition with the 5 minis and the bust, it'll cost you $100. Now let me scroll down here to these minis, because while I just complained about Bardsung, these are a whole nother level of terrible. These are some of the worst minis that I have seen in a long time. I don't understand what's going on with any of these. Billy Butcher looks like Frankenstein. Huey looks like a zombie. Frenchie looks like he's holding a bitten hot dog. Like, I don't understand what they're going for. And then, you have the Homelander bust. Again, an absolutely terrible mini that does not seem to fit the game either. When we scroll down here, we see that Homelander bust sits in the middle of the board while you run around and go from space to space trying to recruit people, gain resources. But in order to recruit, you have to fight, recruit heroes to your team by paying their recruitment cost and besting them in combat. So you have to fight these heroes, and if you beat them, then they join you. That doesn't really make sense to me, but okay. Then you're going to gather even more resources, play some cards. You can sabotage other players by trying to recruit their people. So it feels like it's a team-based game, but you all are individually trying to take down Homelander. Just all around, it seems like this is a giant mess. There are literally 100,000 different things that you could spend your money on that would be better than this. Next, we have Reality Shift. It's reached its pledge goal, almost got 200 backers. And as far as games go, this seems to be one of the more unique ones that I have seen recently. It's a racing game where you will be racing along the tracks of these cubes, going all along them, so on top, on the sides, trying to get to the finish line. So if this is your start line and this is your finish, then everybody takes turns starting here, moving along, trying to get to the finish. Now the cool thing, like I said, you can go along the sides. And the cool thing are these cards that allow you to move the cubes around. So you can lift them up to smash other players. You can move them around so that it makes it easier for you to get to the finish line. This is a racetrack that is constantly changing, constantly evolving, that you get to change and evolve based on the cards you play to either stop someone else from reaching the finish or to further yourself in reaching the finish. And for $40, that doesn't seem bad at all. One question that I do have is, I wonder how cumbersome it is in the middle of the game to be moving these cubes around. To see the other sides of these cubes. Will I have to walk around the table if I want to go off the other edge? If I want to go up and around? Being a 3-dimensional game, I would almost want to put this game on a turntable so that I can turn it and make it easier to see. I don't really want to be walking around the table the whole time, but I don't necessarily know if that's going to be an issue or not. So, in the base game, you get 9 cubes, 4 different colored light bikes, different action cards, a rulebook, the dice to tell you how far you move, all the basic things. The deluxe edition adds a little bit, adds the white hole, deluxe cube, which changes a little bit, 5th bike if you want to play with 5 players, but it also adds deluxe track layouts. My problem with these layouts is I still don't understand what the point of them are. It says that you got the pyramid here, you've got the two towers here, they've got pixel, where you line up the edges to start. I'm not sure. Are these just... I'm not sure what the point of these tracks are. Are they just layout ideas? If so, then I can literally just look at these and build them. I don't need to buy the deluxe edition in order to build these pledge goals. So as far as pledge goals go, oh, these are the pledge goals. Includes everything above plus these goals. But again, you've unlocked 1, 2, 3, a battle mode, which you can figure out yourself. You've unlocked at least 4 different layouts. And I don't understand what the point are. I can just hold on to this page when I get the game, lay them out like this. So, if you want more cubes, you can spend $90, get both the deluxe and the reality. Then you have 18, whatever, you have more cubes. And you can build in more ways. So, it's an interesting game. It's one that I would love to play if somebody else owned to see how it is, but I'm personally not going to be spending $40 on right now. If my kids were a little older and playing more games, I might be more interested, but for myself and my play group, I won't be getting it. Next we have Levitation, Masters of Magic, and Board Game Co., I think, put this game perfectly. He said, "This looks like an unfinished project." While it looks like an okay game, it looks like a beta project. It's 2 to 5 players, struggling. 23 days to go, still needs to raise $10,000. And this right here shows me the direction that this game wanted to go. Right off the top, the Kickstarter only items that you receive are this little cup and a ball round marker, 50 metal cubes, and 50 wooden ticket tokens. These are your exclusives for buying the Kickstarter edition. These are regular things. These would be the items being replaced in other Kickstarters. So there is no way, shape, or form that getting these in Kickstarter make me want to back this right now. These should already be included, and we should be upgrading these to other, better, cooler items. I mean, a cup and a ball round marker. You could have made that so much better. Look, that looks like a cheap 10-cent piece of crap. The game itself looks like it'd be okay. Looks like it'd be an interesting play. You will be rolling a whole handful of dice and putting them in each of these individual slots, and then drafting those dice, taking turns taking them out of their positions, and doing things based off of which slot you pull them out of, what color the dice are, and you are trying to build up your magic show to get to bigger and bigger cities. And whoever gets to the biggest city wins. I have to say, with this board, it looks extremely bland. Nothing about this looks like, hey, I'm doing a magic trick. Now, I'm not a huge fan of war games, but this one really stuck out to me. Soldiers in Postmen's Uniform, a DVG game. It has already surpassed its goal, 500 backers, 15 days to go. It's doing well. Now, this is a game that takes place on the first day of the Second World War. So, it says a valiant defense game, and I have not played one of these, but there are 2 others that have already funded, Pavlov's House and Castle Itter, I don't know. And Valiant Defense series allows you to play amazing stories of courage with small forces, holding the line against unimaginable odds. And we will see what that means in a minute. So, for 50 bucks, you get what I would consider a very colorful board for a war game. Everything else looks pretty drab to me, typical for a war game, from what I would expect. Really, really like the look and the color scheme of this board. So, what really got me is the fact that you can play this, that this is a solo game. I can whip out, play in an hour, and feel like I have accomplished something. The game is split into 3 different attacks, taking place over a day. The morning hours, an attack in the midday, and an attack in the evening. And each attack is split into multiple phases. Where the enemy attacks, you're defending, you're clearing things out, and then in phase 3, you're escaping. Now there is a tabletop simulator mode for this, and I do want to check that out. I have not yet, but I have considered backing this. I love games that, I don't know, stress me out a little bit. This War of Mine, Robinson Crusoe, Kingdom Death. Games that almost just kick you in the butt, and that's exactly what this game seems to do. What the Valiant defense games in general seem to be doing. You're being attacked with these massively overwhelming forces, and your end goal is to see how many of your troops, how many of your postmen in this game. So, for me, I like that. I like that idea of saying, oh, I have just been overwhelmed, but I have this many people left. Next time, I'm going to try to have even more people left. And that seems like a good goal for me, especially in a solo mode. So, even if you're not interested in war games, I would say that this might be worth checking out. They do have some unlocks, a mounted board, a game mat to a mounted board, which is cool. They have all these different unlocks, which, okay, nothing super fancy. But at the end, if you want to add some things, if you want to add the other games, Pavlov House, Castle Itter, then you can go ahead and put those in as well. So as far as war games go, I'm usually not interested, but being a quick solo game, I might check it out. We have a couple more here. Next is USS Freedom, which has surpassed its goal. Over 475 backers and 10 days to go. And this game is almost like a sci-fi story that you are participating in. It takes place over 36 different standalone missions with all these different characters. Look, you got obviously Harry Potter. Looks like that Marvel Tigra lady. This looks like Heimdall, the same stance as Heimdall from Thor. We've got just a whole list of different characters that you're playing as in this game, taking place over 36 different standalone sessions, each taking about an hour. That's 36 hours. I think that's a good amount of playtime. It's said that each standalone session is almost like an episode in a TV show. As a fan of Star Trek, as a fan of the Orville, that idea appeals to me. There are a lot of very good testimonials that you can look into. And look at these. They have full paragraph testimonials, whereas a lot of games like to stick with just little sound bits. This says a lot to me. So you got some cool minis. It looks good. The art looks good. These tiles look good. I like the translucent cubes. Adds another dimension to the game. And just this whole layout, I think, looks very good. I like the colors. The color scheme, almost like a neon with the blues and the purples. especially on the board here. They could have made this very drab, spacey, but instead they went with a fun, colorful scheme to match the whimsical nature of the game. So you have an interstellar map that you are moving around in. You're moving your ship, the Titans, other ships, and seeing if anybody runs into each other. And if not, then you go on to the navigation phase. And I really like this phase because your ship is here in the middle, and you get to choose which direction you go. Or will you go towards this supernova hole-looking thing? Will you go towards another ship? Towards an alien species? Your scanners are scanning out into the universe, and you're choosing which direction to go. So, with all these different cards, this could be an endless possibilities on the different things that you can do. After you choose which direction you're going to go, you're going to roll some dice and add, and then look at the back and see, okay, what am I going to do? With these Archons, there are 3 different levels, 1, 2, 3, of things that can be done. Either be attacked, I will attack, they might help me on my mission. There's just a variety of things that can be done. And then that leads to combat. In combat, you can fight. Different fights will take place either on the ship, in space, on alien planets. If it takes place on your ship, you're going to have to be moving and repairing your ship, making sure the engine is up to snuff, your thrusters are good to go. You're actually like controlling a ship. Attacking with your weapons, moving all your people around in order to fight these aliens. Look, I like that little graphic that, phew, boom, got him. Making sure your shields are good to go. But then there's also planet combat, where you send your crew down to a planet and you are attacking individual creatures. If I saw that, I would run for my life. So overall, I am very interested in this game. At a pledge level of $60, that's not out there at all. That's, I think, very, very standard, very good. Most people are going with the deluxe. That is $80, because then you get the stretch goals as well with the deluxe. You do not with the $60 version. So let's see what you get for an extra $20. So let's scroll down here. These are all in the base game. For an extra $20, you're getting an insert, solo and duo heroes, added a tutorial campaign to help you learn the game, planet and star-based terrain obstacles. That sounds cool. Backer created opportunity cards, meaning I always like when the community is able to have a say in different things like this in order to add to the game. A player's companion we'll be able to get, and we'll be unlocking a couple more as the days go on. They are daily unlocks. Now you can, for a little bit of money, add these ink sprays, which I think this yellow looks terrible, but I like the other colors. The blue looks pretty cool. The red. If you want to add the purple, if you want to add green too, my bad. If you want to add a little color to your schemes, you don't feel like painting, then they can do a quick base coat ink spray that I wouldn't do, but for some of you, it might be good. Now, one thing I have not liked about this is their tabletop simulator mod. It is invite only. To me, that says that they are trying to hide something. They don't want people to experience their game yet. But with 36 different missions, I feel like they could have very easily put together a 20-30 minute quick introduction to the game so that people can have a quick feel as to what the game is like And instead, they are doing invite only, and I'm not a fan of that. I would personally like to be able to experience the mod without having to ask, hey, can I try your mod? And it would have been very easy to just do something very little so that I can get a feel. Or actually, two more. This is just a quick one that not a lot of you might know about and thought I would share. They are running an expansion for Knights of the Hound table, Sales and Tales. It's going to reach its funding. It's only $25 away, and it's at less than 100 backers. But they have a lot of time to go. And for a quick family game, this is not bad at all. In this game, it's a deck builder where you will be drafting different dogs, fighting them, and trying to have the best score at the end. There's nothing really different or better about this game than others, except, for me, the theme. I like these dogs. What's in the box? You get wiener dogs, golden doodles, Great Danes, pugs, these different kinds of dogs, as well as your hero cards. And then there's 2 booster packs, which are below, which add corgis and huskies. And the underdog. If you are a big fan of dogs in general, especially if you have little kids. My oldest daughter is 4, and I can totally see in a year or two playing a game like this with her. We'll get to the banners and the attack and defense in a minute. Check out the game and play it. They have a print and play that you can basically cut out your own version and play at home. See if you like it, and then back them if you want. So, the basic game takes place like this. You take turns, one at a time, drafting your hounds. You place 12 of them out here, or 6 at a time out here, taking turns, picking one dog at a time, until everybody has 12 hounds, as they call them, in their hand, and that's your deck. Then, you draw 3 cards from the top, you flip over a banner, and then you play your 3 cards. You put 1 in the attack slot, 1 in the defense slot, and 1 in the ability slot in the middle. So you've got 3 cards in your hand, you're deciding which area to place them to get the best benefit, and then you basically flip your cards over, equal to the damage dealt, to add more to your hand later. So there's one main thing. If you just want the expansion, then it's $22. But most of you probably do not have the game. So for an easy $35, you can get the base game and the expansions. But this $50 pledge changes everything for me. They will allow you, for $50, you get the base game, both expansions, you get to immortalize your dog into this game. I think that's a wonderful, amazing addition, especially for just an extra $15. And yeah, with as easy a game as this is, as quick a play as it is, this is a kind of game that can appeal to all sorts of people, not just gamers. And if you have maybe your mom or a friend or your cousin absolutely loves their dog, then this would be, I think, an amazing, easy gift for next Christmas, for a birthday gift, even just an I love you or a thank you gift, to put their dog into a game that they can then play. If you want to add another $25, then they will make all the cards holographic. So, I just want to show you these cards, a couple of these cards really fast, some of these names. So I love the names of these. You have Ava L. Anch. They're blowing the horn. There's an avalanche. Leaf Erickson. Spike. Lara, Thorgy, you got Thor as a corgi, you got Cody. I think that these cards are very, very well done. The specialists, it has already dominated its pledge goal. Over 650 backers, and with 18 days to go, this game is doing very well. It is a heist-based game where you are recruiting members for your heists, going to different towns and buildings and robbing them. In this different areas of a city, you got different cities with towns in each of them. With buildings in each of them, and each building will have an amount of money that can be stolen from it. Your player boards here, and different people that can be recruited. Mr. Green, Blue, Red, Yellow, Miss Orange, Mr. Purple, all sorts of different colored people. And it looks like it'd be an okay game. It's not really my type of game, so it's hard for me to really say. I'm not a fan of the color scheme. It almost looks like the Easter Bunny threw up on these boards, and I don't want to think about Easter pastel type colors when robbing places. But depending on your play group or your preference, you might love those boards. I don't know. Now, there are two different pledge levels. There is the base game standard for 48, and the deluxe for 72, along with the stretch goals, which let's go look at those. Really, what you get in your deluxe version are poker chips, which I would go deluxe just for these poker chips. I am a sucker for good-looking poker chips in games like this. For me, they up the quality of a game significantly compared to little cardboard cutouts. And a mini expansion. So like I said, this is not a game for me. It's not something I am interested in or I would ever get to the table. I have some basic unlocks that are okay, I guess. But it's really a dice drafting game. You're rolling your dice, taking turns, picking the dice that you want, using those dice to recruit people and then use their abilities to help you rob a store. You're picking areas and buildings to rob. You've got to be able to pay for the areas that you rob. And it looks okay. Whoever has the most money at the end of the game wins. If somebody brought this over, I'd try it out. But I'm not going to personally be spending money on this. So that's the end of this week's Kickstarter stuff. Thank you for joining me. I know that my camera has been a little messed up today, and that is something that I will be looking into. If you found this helpful, then please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps me know that even though there are already lots of channels out there doing things like this, that you find my insights helpful. And yeah, I'm hoping that each week I get better and better. So please, as I do, come check me out again, and be on the lookout because I will be doing 2 of these weekly. One for board games, and one specifically aimed at tabletop RPG type stuff. So, thank you, and until next time.